You tell yourself you'll check it for 2 minutes. Just a quick look, then back to whatever you were doing. 40 minutes later, you look up, and you couldn't tell anyone what you actually saw. Not because you weren't paying attention, because part of your brain wasn't really deciding anymore. That's not a willpower problem. It's a predictable pattern built out of how your attention and reward systems respond to design that was made to keep them engaged. Think about the last time you opened an app just to check one thing. Your thumb moved before you even thought about it. One video ended, another began, and somewhere in there, the choice to keep going disappeared entirely. You weren't choosing to stay. You were just not stopping. Here's what's actually happening. Every swipe is a tiny gamble. You don't know if the next post will be boring or brilliant, and that uncertainty is the whole point. Psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered this back in the 1950s, studying how animals respond to rewards. He found that rewards given on an unpredictable schedule create far stronger, harder to break habits than rewards given every single time. It's called variable ratio reinforcement, and it's the same mechanism behind slot machines. Your brain isn't chasing content. It's chasing the uncertainty of what comes next. That uncertainty triggers dopamine, a chemical often misunderstood as a pleasure signal. More accurately, dopamine fires in anticipation of a reward, not necessarily from receiving one. Your brain keeps expecting that the next swipe might finally be the one worth stopping for, so it rarely lets you stop first. That's why you can finish scrolling and feel emptier than when you started, even though nothing bad happened. But there's a design choice that makes this worse, one most people never think about. The infinite scroll. Before it existed, apps and websites had natural stopping points, a page 10, a load more button, something that made you pause and ask, do I keep going? Ozzy Raskin, the designer credited with creating the infinite scroll feature, has spoken publicly about how removing that pause removes your natural exit point. There's no page 10 anymore. There's no bottom. Your brain, which relies on small stopping cues to make decisions, simply isn't given one. Once you see that, a lot of your own scrolling starts to make more sense. Researcher Natasha Schull, who studies compulsive technology use, found something surprising in her work on slot machine design. People weren't playing to win. They were playing to stay in what she called the zone, a state where the outside world quiets down and only the rhythm of the activity remains. That same zone shows up in scrolling. It's not that the content is always good. It's that the rhythm itself becomes soothing, almost hypnotic, separate from what's actually on the screen. You've probably felt this without naming it. You lock your phone, set it down, and a minute later your hand is already reaching for it again, before you've even thought of a reason. You weren't looking for anything in particular. You were just returning to a loop your mind had already learned. This reframes something else you've probably felt, but never quite named. That slightly foggy, disconnected feeling after a long scrolling session isn't just tiredness. It's what happens when your mind spends real time in a low attention, high repetition loop, and then has to snap back into focused thinking. That transition takes effort, which is why picking up a book right after scrolling can feel unexpectedly hard. It's worth saying clearly that not everything here is settled science. Some researchers debate whether addiction is even the right word for compulsive scrolling, since it lacks some features of clinical addiction. What's well supported is simpler. These apps are intentionally engineered using known psychological principles to keep you engaged longer than you intend to be, and your brain's normal reward system responds to that design exactly as it was built to. So what actually helps, once you understand the mechanism instead of blaming yourself? You don't need more discipline. You need to reintroduce the stopping cues the design removed. Set a specific reason before opening an app, so you have something to check against instead of drifting. Turn off autoplay where you can, since it quietly removes your natural pause. Give yourself an artificial page 10, a timer, a reminder, anything that forces a moment of choice back into a system built to remove it. This isn't about deleting every app or blaming yourself for something engineered to be hard to resist. It's about recognizing that you were never just scrolling. You were responding, exactly as designed, to a system built by people who understood your brain better than you did in that moment. The next time you catch yourself scrolling longer than you meant to, don't start by blaming your willpower. Start by noticing the pattern the design was quietly guiding you into. Sometimes the biggest change doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from finally understanding the pattern you were living inside. And once you see that pattern, you rarely see yourself the same way again.